20-year-old cars never stop giving you trouble. It's always something. This guy's about to hit 20 here. It's a 2005 turbo. But this one here is hitting all of the notes of an old car. So you've been following along. I took the engine out a second time last week to address all of the accessories, not all, to address most of the accessories on the top part of the engine. One of the things that I did not address was the alternator. And then yesterday I got this. Yeah, it's not charging. Then I come back and I stop the engine and I restart it and it's charging again. So now I've got a possibly failing alternator, and those are $300. Those are not cheap. But that does not address the heat issue. So that's what my computer is here for. I went ahead and plugged in the Durametric. For those of you who don't know how the cooling works on the 996 generation, hell, on any 911 really, water cooled, is there are two radiators, one in front of each wheel, right? And they cool, there's two fans attached to those radiators, part of the air conditioning system, as well as cooling the radiators so that it cools the coolant that cools the engine. Well, there's two stages. There's a low stage for like when you're at idle, you're at a stoplight, and it keeps pumping air into the radiator so that it cools the coolant. And then there's stage two when you're at temperature and you're running hot, the fans really kick on. Well, check out what mine does. So I've got a Durametric, which is a great tool that's Porsche specific because it lets you do a lot of activations. Although I've been finding that the OBD2 computers that are available on Amazon, and I'll put a link here to my affiliates where you can go and take a look at that, can also do activations on the Porsche. But this particular one that I'm looking for is, you can see fan stage 1. Listen. I can hear the relays firing, or relay. Not sure if it's both, if there's one or two. All right, let's stop it. Now here, stage 2 fans. That sounds real good until you get up close and you put your hand under the car and you don't feel anything. And you come over here to this side and I can already feel it on my feet. But I'll put my hand right here and it's blowing a lot. So I've got stage 1 failure on both fans and a stage 2 failure on this one. So that could be a bad fan. I'll have to probably take it out if I can't address it with what I want to do. And what I want to do is replace the resistors that control the staging of the fan power. Now, the ones that Porsche sells, I'll put a link and a picture up here so you can see how much it costs. Or you can get some for like $5 and they're colored. Look, these are green, nice and pretty. So I'm gonna run those under there and just address stage 1 and see what happens. And then I may have to take the fan out on that one, but I hope not. I just wanna drive this damn car, man, not fix it all the time. Jeez. So obviously the first thing that you wanna do is check the fuses. And on the 996, it's row C, which is down here, ABC, and then it's 8 and 10, and they're pretty easy to identify because they're the 40 amp fuse. Well, so I pulled out the one that was giving me trouble, and guess what? The fuse is blown. Actually, no. Here. There. The fuse is blown. So I put a new fuse in there and nothing, no change. Let me show you. Now that I have a new fuse, let's go to stage 2. And I unplugged the one that's working, so all we can hear is the one that's not. And still nothing. Now I'm going to pull that fuse again and see if it's blown, because then maybe we have a short and I have something to follow. Otherwise, the fan is bad.
One eternity later.
All right, we are back at it. Yes, as you saw in that little cut there, it's been several weeks since I've been able to work on this car. You're probably asking yourself, Yogi, this isn't really all that hard, so what's the holdup? Well, the holdup is this. Yeah. See that? I broke my foot. Actually, I broke my toe, but it's attached to my foot, so I say it's my foot because it sounds better. So I broke my foot, and not in the garage. Not in the garage. I broke it in a typical household accident. Late night, I tripped in the bathroom. My toe went from happy to snappy. And here we are. 2 weeks later, I've got a choice. I can either put a pin in that little toe. If you guys want to see a picture of it, let me know. I'll post it on a post or something. I'm not sure if I can include it here because it has the BLOOD color in it. But yeah, it broke enough to where the bone stuck out of my foot on my little toe because I practically ripped it off. So it took a couple of weeks to get back to where I'm comfortable walking on it because I can feel the bones moving around on my little toe. So it's kind of weird. But anyway, all right, so here we are. We're back at it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put either a support of some type, a jack, a box, or something underneath the brace so when I loosen it all up, it's not hanging on the hoses or the power or the connectors because I don't have an extra radiator. And these radiators have plastic ends on both sides. So that's a corner that they cut back in the early 2000s to save a little bit of money, it seems. And these are starting to fail. So I got to be extra careful. I don't want to stress out anything because what's going to end up happening is I'll lose half of my coolant. Yes, I'm uphill, right? I'm still angled, but there's still coolant in those radiators. So I'd probably lose a gallon or two, and I don't want to do that, and I don't want to get it all over my darn floors. So I'm just taking some extra steps. Here's the new one right here, right? And I can just move it. Look at that. And the blades are super free and fluid, so there's no issue here. But when I did that, as you saw earlier on that fan, I'm using my finger to push the blades around, and they're not moving. So yeah, that's where we're at. Okay, let's get to work. This support, and it's better than the floor jack because the floor jack would have had a bigger footprint. So now I can just loosen this up from that bracket, and I believe there's another one underneath, that I did not block yet. Yeah, there's two, and they're open. All right, cool. So let's do that. I have to use my extension because I can't really get down there. Yeah, look at that. Perfect. Cage out of here. I think it'll just make my life a whole lot easier. And I've got my radiator being held up by bungees. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Okay. So this little shroud here, you can see, became delaminated. Let's see if I can fix that. I doubt it, but we'll see. All right, long guy time. I'll be back. There we go. The housing's out. Let's verify the fan size. Yes, 10-inch. Sure, I wasn't quite sure if this would be the right size, but it is. All right, so here's the fan. And look, it's not moving. You can actually see the axle here is seized up pretty good. I mean, I already see a couple of issues here. This is a different connector than this, which is fine. I'll just have to transfer it over. That's what you get for buying off aftermarket generics. The brand new ones from Porsche were like $200 or $300 for a freaking fan. And this one here was like 84. So this is the way it's gonna be. All right, so let me clean this up, figure out how it all goes together. I'll come up with a game plan on getting that fan into that housing, back into that car. Okay, there are 3 T25 screws. I went ahead and started to back them out. And that releases the fan motor from the shroud. I can't see if anything else that would be preventing it. But these screws will need to be reconditioned because they're, you know, really corroded. Not corroded, but just rough, hard to handle. All right, the next thing I need to do is remove this cover with my mechanic's pick, gently. You know me, I don't know that word very well. I don't even know the meaning of the word. And there's my lawn guys messing up my shot. Now I gotta figure out how to get that fan in here and make it work. Let's say we go deeper here, huh? That is a T20. Let's mix it up a little bit, why don't we? Yeah, so here's the motor. And I can't go any further, but I think it's safe to say that this thing is shot. Man, that's tough. Nothing I can do. Done. All right, what I will need to do though is to take this wiring harness off exactly the way you see it here. I'll need to cut from here, preserve this setup, and then swap out the new resistor and change out the connector. Okay, it sounds like a plan. All right, now let's worry about that after I get this thing in the housing, because that's gonna be the challenge, I think. Aftermarket, here we come. It cannot be that easy. It does not. I was really hoping that this back plate here would work and attach, but it does not. This is a much smaller motor too. I mean, this is the whole thing, way lighter. There we go. Motor out of the housing. I think it's gonna take a miracle, is what I think. Okay, we're at a full stop with this fan. It can work, but it requires too much invasiveness on a classic Porsche as far as I'm concerned. This would be a great solution for a hot rod that's introducing an electric fan into their cooling system. Because really, these right here are meant to go through your radiator grill or your radiator fins and then zip tie on the other side with this other cap like this, right? So it goes in one way and then it caps it against the radiator, flat against the radiator. Well, I don't want that. And I even tried it on a small little corner of the radiator, and it's not designed for this kind of radiator. The fins are really tight together. Some videos that I saw on the internet showed the person doing it, attaching it directly to the radiator, but the fins were way further apart, so they made it a lot easier. Now, the other pieces here that come with this kit are mounting brackets like this, right? That go on to basically universally fit anywhere. Well, look, man, this is not a Hyundai. This is not a Toyota Camry. This is a Porsche 911. So I'm not going to do that. I went ahead and ordered an replacement, verified fitments, exactly the same size as the old motor, and we'll go that way. And so we'll move on to the other one. And that other one comes with a resistor too.
Hold on. Before I cut away for a few days. I might as well go ahead and get this one done since this fan appears to be working fine on the passenger side. So let me go ahead and do that and see if I can get this one working at the very least. And it's on a rusty bracket. And don't be surprised if half the bracket comes off with it. There. So here is what you're dealing with here on the wiring. So go ahead and cut that right out because this resistor is bad. Confirmed bad.
So the solution that I'm going to use for this is a solder seal. If you haven't seen those, I'll put a link in my affiliate section. Hey, I wanted to pause this video for a second and answer a few questions that some of my viewers have been asking me. And some of them are, hey, what do you use to detail your car? Or, hey, what kind of tools do you use in your garage every day? Well, luckily, Amazon has allowed me to build a storefront on their page. And I put the link down below in the description. And if you need cleaning supplies from like the chemical guys or tools from Tekton or Milwaukee, I've curated a bunch of those tools on that site, and everything you buy helps support the channel. So I really appreciate that, and it helps fund projects like this. Not by much, maybe a penny or two, but the more people that buy tools, because you need tools, if you buy them through my storefront, I get a little commission, and it helps me and Yogi Mama. And also, please like and subscribe to my videos. I don't ask a whole lot, but now I'm begging. All right, now back to the show.
Now I'm using this IWISS wire stripper. They're kind enough to give me a 5% discount on these. They're fantastic. I highly recommend getting yourself a pair of these. They make it really easy to strip and crimp. So I put a link down in my description below. If you need a tool like this, helping me out would be a huge solid. Thank you. I just need to make sure that these are nice and twisted. Here. And had a squirt line. I just gotta let it cool off now. It's kind of hot. Now I'm feeling really festive because it's Christmas time. So I'm going with red zip ties.
Okay, so I've got the Durametric up and running. I'm ready to activate these things, but I'm gonna go put this camera by the fan so that you can see firsthand fan stage 1 and fan stage 2. So let's go ahead and do that. Yeah. All right. Stage 2. Woo!
20 minutes later.
I was listening to the audio in the video when I played back the fan motor, and the high and the low sounded identical. So I went back to my wiring diagram, and sure enough, I've got these wrong. The white and the green white should go together, and then the green wire goes by itself to the output. So I reversed it. So I got to cut this out, put those together, and fix it properly.
All right, here's fan stage 1. There's two. There we go. So much better. Right. Woo, that's really blowing. It's really blowing. Outstanding. All right. I bet you guys thought I was going to forget about that radiator, huh? I need to get the leaves out from behind that condenser. All right, let's get to work.